Does it make your blood boil? Does it leave you utterly bewildered, screaming at your screen, wondering how a team with so much raw talent can look so utterly lost, so devoid of direction? Because that, my friends, is the agonizing question currently hanging heavy over the Atlanta Falcons, casting a long, dark shadow over what was supposed to be a season of triumphant resurgence. Here's a franchise that, just 3 years ago, believed they had found their undisputed future, their next generational talent, the arm that would finally lead them back to glory. They invested everything, staked their reputation, and poured their hopes into one man. And yet, they're stuck wrestling with one of the NFL's most maddening riddles. What do you do when your supposed franchise savior, the cornerstone of your future, looks more like a crumbling foundation? We're talking, of course, about Jaxson Miller, the golden arm, the dazzling prospect, the tantalizing what if that has now become a deeply unsettling what now for Falcons fans. And as Atlanta spirals deeper into mediocrity, a brutal, unavoidable question has emerged that could either define their future or condemn them to years of regret. Let's establish something crucial right from the jump. The Atlanta Falcons are no longer a rebuilding team, hoping to compete someday. They were supposed to be competing now. What was touted as a methodical, patient reconstruction after the departure of their longtime veteran quarterback has morphed into something far more frustrating. General Manager Terry Fontenot didn't just accumulate draft capital. He spent it with conviction, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. Those selections, combined with shrewd free agent signings, have blossomed into a roster that, on paper, boasts explosive playmakers, a solid offensive line, and a defense that shows flashes of dominance. Last season's late-season surge, though ultimately falling short of the playoffs, was a fluke or a fleeting moment of hope. It was a declaration. We're close. We've arrived. But Fontenot isn't satisfied with just being close. He's been relentlessly aggressive in surrounding his young core with complementary pieces, always hunting for that perfect chemistry, that ideal balance between youth and experience, skill and grit. It's been masterful roster construction, the kind that makes other GMs envious. Which brings us to the centerpiece of this grand design, the player whose arrival was met with parades and proclamations, Jaxson Miller. When Atlanta drafted the dynamic quarterback third overall 3 years ago, the football world collectively held its breath. Here was a player with a cannon for an arm, uncanny mobility, and the kind of leadership intangibles that scouts drool over. A former Heisman Trophy winner whose ceiling touched the stratosphere. But here's the thing about ceilings. They don't matter if you're spending most of your time staring at the turf, or worse, throwing passes to the opposing team. Miller's career has been a bewildering roller coaster of brilliance and frustration, dazzling flashes of potential followed by perplexing valleys of inconsistency and poor decision-making. A player who was supposed to elevate everyone around him, but who now seems to be dragging the entire offense down. And now, deep into his third season, that familiar pattern is emerging again, but with a terrifying new intensity. The warning signs are flashing not just red, but blinding crimson. The numbers don't lie, and they paint a grim picture. Through 8 games this season, Miller's completion percentage hovers just above 58%, a career low. His touchdown-to-interception ratio is a dismal 7-12, leading the league in turnovers. He's been sacked 28 times, often holding on to ball too long or failing to recognize pressure. The once heralded deep ball accuracy has vanished, replaced by overthrown passes and desperate scrambles that lead nowhere. The eye test is even worse. He looks hesitant, unsure, a shadow of the confident gunslinger who tore up college defenses. The chemistry with his star receivers, once a highlight, now appears strained, with miscommunications and dropped passes becoming a weekly occurrence. The once electric offense has become stagnant, predictable, and frankly, painful to watch. So what's the problem? Is it Jaxson Miller, the player, or is it the system, the coaching, the environment around him? Let's dissect this, because there are compelling arguments on both sides. Look, you can't teach instinct, argues former NFL quarterback and current analyst Mark Thompson. Miller has all the physical tools, no doubt, but the mental side of the game, the processing speed, the ability to read defenses and make quick decisions under pressure, it's just not there consistently. He's still making rookie mistakes in his third year. He stares down receivers, He forces throws into double coverage. And when the pocket collapses, he panics instead of stepping up or throwing away. Great quarterbacks elevate their teammates. They make the tough plays. Miller is doing the opposite. He's got a $40 million arm and a $5 brain right now. You can't win in this league with that kind of inconsistency from your signal caller, no matter how many weapons you surround him with. The argument here is that Miller's internal clock is broken, his decision-making flawed, and his leadership lacking. He's had every opportunity, every resource, and yet the same fundamental issues persist. He's simply not living up to the immense potential, and the team is paying the price. Hold on a minute, counters veteran offensive coordinator turned pundit, Sarah Jenkins. You can't just pin this all on the kid. Let's look at the offensive scheme. It's vanilla, predictable, and frankly, it's not playing to Miller's strengths. Where are the RPOs? Where are the quick reads to get him into a rhythm? They're asking him to drop back 5 steps, hold the ball, and make hero throws against constant pressure because the play designs aren't creating easy outlets. And the offensive line, while talented, has been inconsistent, leaving him exposed. Furthermore, Coach Sterling's play calling has been baffling. They abandon the run too early. They don't adjust at halftime, and there's no creativity. A young quarterback needs to be put in a position to succeed, to build confidence. This coaching staff is doing the opposite. They're stifling him, not developing him. You could put Patrick Mahomes in the system, and he'd struggle to look like himself. This perspective suggests that Miller is a victim of circumstances, a talented player trapped in a dysfunctional offensive ecosystem that is failing to nurture his growth. The stakes couldn't be higher. The Falcons are currently 3-5, staring down another lost season in a division that was supposed to be theirs for the taking. Playoff hopes are fading fast. Coach Sterling's seat is hotter than a Georgia summer sidewalk, and GM Fontenot's reputation is on the line. Fans are growing restless, disillusioned by the promise of a bright future that seems to recede further with each passing week. This isn't just about winning games. It's about the very identity of the franchise. Do they double down on Miller, hoping he eventually gets it? Or do they admit a colossal mistake and start over, potentially setting the franchise back years? The financial implications are also massive. Miller is still on his rookie deal, but a decision on his 5th-year option looms, and beyond that, a potential mega extension. Committing long-term to a player performing like this would be catastrophic. Historically, we've seen quarterbacks turn around, Josh Allen, Jared Goff, but we've also seen plenty of high draft picks flame out spectacularly, unable to overcome their flaws or a poor situation. The Falcons are at a critical juncture, facing a decision that could define the next decade of their franchise. Do they continue to preach patience, hoping for a breakthrough that is yet to materialize? Or do they make a bold, perhaps ruthless, move to reset their trajectory? The whispers are growing louder in the locker room, in the stands, and in the media. Is it time for a change? Whether that change is a new offensive coordinator, a new head coach, or even a new quarterback, something has to give. The current path is unsustainable. So, where you stand on this agonizing dilemma? Should the Falcons continue to invest in Jaxson Miller, believing he can still unlock that elite potential we all saw glimpses of? Or is it time to admit that the experiment has failed and look for a new answer under center? I genuinely want to know what you think, because this is one of those decisions that could define a franchise's trajectory for years to come. Drop your take in the comments and don't hold back. Are you Team Miller, believing he deserves more time and a better system? Or are you ready to move on? Let's debate this properly. And if this breakdown gave you a new perspective on this frustrating situation, show some love with a like and subscribe for more in-depth football analysis that goes beyond the surface-level takes. This is where we dig into the real stories shaping the NFL. What's your gut feeling on this quarterback conundrum?